Welcome back to the weekend. Jeff Skaversky putting this up on Instagram. He's one of the Eagles beat reporters here in Philadelphia. And Fletcher Cox, this is what he had to say about the Bears' #1 ranked defense. We will be the better defense on Sunday, talking about the Eagles' defense. Ooh, putting it out there like that. Okay. Temperatures are expected to be around 40 degrees tomorrow at kickoff. Tom Pelissero and Stacey Dales are live in Chicago. And Tom, you've got the latest on the road team, the Eagles, so lead us off.
Colleen, I spent the past couple of days in Philadelphia, spoke yesterday with Eagles tight end Zach Ertz, who told me we didn't even know the playoffs were a realistic possibility 6 weeks ago at 4-6, coming off a really bad loss. But that blowout in New Orleans served as a turning point for the Eagles season. They won 5 out of their last 6, including 3 in a row after Nick Foles replaced an injured Carson Wentz at quarterback. We know that Foles has been here before, led the Super Bowl run a year ago, is dealing with those bruised ribs, but he was able to fully participate in practice the past couple of days. May wear a little bit of extra protection tomorrow in case he takes some shots from Khalil Mack and company. For more on the Bears, let's go across the field to my friend Stacey Dales.
Well, Tom, being that we're here at Soldier Field, let's not forget there's some history in the playoffs with these two franchises. They last saw each other in the playoffs in 2001, but while I was preparing for the game this week, I couldn't help but reminded of the Fog Bowl back in '88 when visibility here at Soldier Field was cut to about 15 yards. Chicago ended up winning that football game, but fast forward just over 20 years later, and they're going to take the field against each other tomorrow, the Eagles, the Bears. As Colleen just mentioned, Tom, temperatures expected to be around 40. And for the Chicago Bears, add that to a really good week of practice. Head coach Matt Nagy saying yesterday may have been one of their best practices this season. He said this week, we're loose, the guys are juiced, and he's reminding them, Colleen, to stay hungry and stay humble. Do not peak too soon, starting with the Eagles tomorrow.
Uh-oh, this is going to be an awesome matchup on Sunday afternoon. Stacey and Tom, thank you. Of course, the Eagles, no strangers to winning away from home. But, GC, I'm going to start with you here. Which road team has the best chance to pull off an upset this weekend? Because all of the seeds seem really, really close this year. This is one of the best wild card weekends I can remember.
They're not much of upsets if you look at these. I mean, it's not like I think the Eagles are considered the biggest underdog here. I'll go with the Colts, though. Okay, this team, the way they started 1-5 this season and then have really turned it on. Big plays offensively. Andrew Luck playing well. He's got that shortened delivery this year, and he seems to have gotten more comfortable with that as far as throwing the football down the field. They're throwing a really good deep ball. I like the Colts because Steve talked about it a little earlier. A lot of times you know the division guys better than you know everybody else. You play them a third time. I'll give these guys the puncher's chance to pull off the upset here.
This is Chris Ballard's year. What a great job he's done with this team. And now you have Andrew Luck back in the playoffs. This team is rolling right now. Steve, what do you think?
For me, I go with the Eagles just because they are a more balanced team with Nick Foles. Nick Foles is a great game manager. He understands his deficiencies. He understands his strengths. There's a lot of games where you'll see Nick does not do as great as Carson Wentz, but they eke out the wins still. That just lets me know that he's still a guy who understands what he needs to do. Unlike Carson Wentz, who's still a young guy who hasn't really established himself, and his team really depends on Carson Wentz way too much for his arm and less on the run game. When Nick Foles is in the game, they run the ball more efficiently, more consistently, and they run in the RPOs than just POs with Carson Wentz. That's pass option for some of you guys that don't know.
And a lot of those guys have really come alive with Foles in there, like Alshon Jeffrey for one, but just like some of those touch passes
but he's
that
not,
Foles have.
Alshon is not going to get a lot of targets with Nick Foles just because they're a different team, more well-balanced team as well.
Yeah, guys, for me, the biggest upset, and I don't think it's an upset, but it's going to be the Los Angeles Chargers coming over here to Baltimore. A possibility. I don't know about my pick yet. It's a possibility. But, guys, it's all going to come down to whether Phillip Rivers can handle these blitz packages of Baltimore. I mean, Baltimore blitzes almost, 40% of the time, good for third most in the National Football League. Last week, they blitzed Baker Mayfield 22 times, forced 3 interceptions for a 2.5 passer rating. Phillip Rivers, he hadn't been great versus the blitz this year, only 8 touchdowns, 5 interceptions he's thrown versus the blitz. So this game is going to come down to those pressure situations, and if Phillip Rivers can handle it.
You know Wink's bringing heat.
Oh, you already know.
So you got all those guys in line of scrimmage. Who's dropping out? Who's staying? They've done a fantastic job of that this season.
I think every single road team has a chance to do it, including the Seahawks, too, who we haven't even mentioned here.
Are you picking them?
I'm going to go. All right, fine. I'll go with the Seahawks.
There you go.
Nobody else is taking them. I'll take them. I think they match up. Well, mirror the Cowboys.
Oh, really? No one else is taking them?
Well, no, just in this discussion, you took the Eagles. I'm going to take the Seahawks here because I think that they match up really well with the Cowboys. They're very, very similar to this team. They both have the power run game. They both have quarterbacks that they struggle to protect. They both have quarterbacks that are really good in the fourth quarter, too. So I think that this game is going to be a close one. I think it'll come down to the end, and it's probably going – I mean, I trust the team that has the better coach and the better quarterback.
Look at Colleen over here educating our listeners. I'm over here like, wow.
I might be sick, but it's
what you saying about Jason Garrett, huh? Who you saying about what you saying about Jason Garrett?
She said a lot about Jason Garrett.
I know, without saying his name.
Said a lot.
Wow.
Whoa, let's talk about the Cowboys. Ezekiel Elliott here, hoping to carry the Cowboys all the way to the Super Bowl, but they have to get by the Seahawks first, as I just talked about.
The real quarterback of the Cowboys right there.
Oh no, how Seattle is planning to slow down that Dallas offense coming up. And the real Mike Robb report is next. Tyler wants to know who has the better game against the run, Cowboys front seven or Seahawks?
Oh, well, see, that's a
Stadium, the Chargers, 12-4. They're a road team. They are playing the Ravens coming up, and the best defense in the AFC, the Ravens are. It's going to be tough to prepare for sure, but they just saw them 2 weeks ago, so we'll see how this one plays out. Helping us look ahead to tomorrow's game, we go live to Baltimore and bring in Steve White and Aditi Kinkhabwala, who have the latest on the Chargers and the Ravens. What's up, guys? Steve, might we see a fresh face on the field tomorrow?
We could, but first off, Colleen, as you see, the tarp is on the field behind me because it has been raining in Baltimore. It's supposed to rain a little bit later on today. They're going to roll up the tarp, though, overnight and let the field dry out. Now back for the Chargers. Tight end Hunter Henry, who's been on IR since May after tearing his ACL, could be activated. All signs are pointing to that way. We'll find out later on today, but he's practiced the past 3 weeks. And again, all signs are looking good for the pass receiving tight end to be on the field, make a season debut tomorrow. But in bad news, nose tackle Brandon Mebane, highly unlikely he will play. As we know, his infant daughter was born with a heart defect. He's missed 4 games already while he's tending to family issues, and right now, highly unlikely that he will play. He is their best run stopper on that defensive front. Now let's send it over to Aditi Kinkhabwala with more on the Ravens.
Well, Steve, here in Baltimore, all the talk has been about the guy who's been running the ball with such magic, quarterback Lamar Jackson. At just 21, he will be the youngest quarterback to ever start an NFL playoff game. But after spending the day with the Ravens yesterday, I can tell you this moment is not too big for him. In fact, when he was asked this week what changes this week, he said, well, I changed my clothes. I talked to Robert Griffin III about this, who, of course, has been in that quarterback room with him all year long and who started a playoff game as a rookie as well. He said he feels that it's an advantage for Jackson. He said Jackson doesn't carry the baggage of the fact that the Ravens haven't been in the playoffs for 5 years. He also said he doesn't yet understand the weight of how hard it is to get to the playoffs. And besides Griffin, Jackson also has Joe Flacco to turn to. Flacco, of course, put together one of the best postseason playoff runs for a quarterback and won a Super Bowl. Flacco told us yesterday he hasn't been shy about sharing advice. The crux of it? Just keep doing what you've been doing. Colleen?
Yeah, that's a nice quarterback room to rely on for sure. Aditi, thank you. And Steve White with that windscreen on the microphone.
Yeah, I can barely see his face behind that.
So sad we can't get a shot of that up for you guys again. Let's get to names and numbers. We have some big names, and we're going to tell you who will have the bigger numbers this weekend. Garofalo, you finally get a chance to talk about Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
I'm so happy for you. More rushing yards, Melvin Gordon or Lamar Jackson?
Regular viewers will know that every week I get Lamar Jackson total yards against the other quarterback total yards. This week, a little twist on it. So they gave me a little bit of a break here. I get just rushing yards. Lamar. Melvin Gordon, give me the running back here. Lamar Jackson, yes, he's had some big plays on the ground game, but I think they're going to lean on him to throw the ball. He did throw the ball well against
even
the
with
Chargers.
The rain and all those things possibly affecting the game.
Banged up a little in the last game.
I mean, we just seeing Lamar. I didn't even see Lamar.
He doesn't like this guy.
change it up, Jesus.
Moving right along here.
My answer of
Steve.
Melvin Gordon, but nice travel.
More receiving yards for you, T.Y. Hilton or DeAndre Hopkins?
Well, I love T.Y. Hilton. I think, he's, averaging 133 yards in the last 7 games against them. But I'm going to go with DeAndre Hopkins, only because who benefits more out of T.Y. Hilton? Isn't T.Y. Hilton? It's Eric Ebron. So I really believe, because also, too, DeAndre Hopkins, Will Fuller's out, Thomas is gone. Kiki's going. We need him to stay. Kiki, you love me. We need you to step up, but DeAndre's the guy, though.
All right, Nuke, it is. Mike Robb, you're up here. More tackles. Your former teammate, Bobby Wagner, or Cowboys rookie, Leighton Vander Esch.
Oh, no Sean Lee? No Sean Lee versus Bobby Wagner?
Sean Lee's not in there. And ordinarily, I love these Dallas Cowboy linebackers, but I have to go with Bobby Wagner.
Really? I am shocked.
It has nothing to do with that, Steve.
No, but
the dude is balling out this year. He's only missed 1 tackle. 1. You can put 2 up. Yeah, 1. It's 0.7% missed tackle percentage. 1, okay, maybe 2. Out of 138 tackle attempts, okay? Steve, watch out. Now, it's my point. But thanks for helping me out. I needed that. But Bobby Wagner, I'm telling you, he'll have more tackles.
Okay.
All right, Colleen, your turn. More TD passes or interceptions? Nick Foles.
Ooh, this feels like a trap. All right, well.
It's not a trap.
It feels like a trap. The Bears are the only defense that have more interceptions than passing touchdowns allowed.
Wow, it's a great stat.
But
what you're saying?
Nick Foles, he brings his big Nick energy to the field, and he just elevates everybody around him. You know what he does in the playoffs. He's so good in December and in January. He hasn't lost a game in his last 8 there. He has the best passer rating in playoff history. Nick Foles, he's going to have more. What was the question?
He's still there,
more touchdown passes. More touchdown passes than interceptions.
No.
Nick Foles, Nicky Foles. And speaking of Nick, guys.
All right, I'm coming back.
It ain't easy getting to the Super Bowl.
Time to move on. I'm coming back.
The show must go on. I don't know what you guys left.
I see you guys.
What's the problem here? Here we go.
Okay.
The Road Warriors playing this weekend. We're going to talk about them with a real shot at playing in Atlanta. That's coming up next. I think Nick Foles is in there, guys.
No, we're not doing it.
What kind of
No more
energy
Nick
is he
Foles.
bringing?
No more Nick Foles. No more.
Oh, big Nick.